Very happy morning to you, sir. I welcome all the. I really welcome wholeheartedly all the three speakers. A very warm greeting from Green Valley Educational Institutions, correspondent and chairman, as well as principals, teachers, students, and staffs. And also on behalf of the Usahin Group, Educating Minds, I welcome all the three speakers for today's National Education Policy Session 2020. Welcome you again, sir, all of you.
Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum and good morning to all. I am Mrs. Aisha Javed, correspondent of Green Valley Educational Institutions. I extend a very hearty welcome for all the special speakers today on the topic National Education Policy 2020. Today's agenda: first is the welcome address, second is the introduction about the speakers, and finally will be the vote of thanks. I would like to introduce about the first speaker. He is Mr. S.A. Khadar from Hyderabad. At present, he is director in Little Master High School, Hyderabad. Formerly, he was professor and HOD in SICET. He is the vice principal, High Point College of Engineering and Technology, assistant professor, Al Mukhtar University, Libya. Apart from being this, he was also an author of English literature for junior lecturers recruitment, MA English, PG entrance series. He is a very good poet and he has contributed many articles for Reader's Digest in India. He has a very great vision. In the next 5 years, he wants to see himself as one of the prominent educationists in the region. His likes are Indian soldiers, farmers, and Indian culture. And his dislikes, he hates violence and enmity. He wants to contribute many things in the field of education. He will strive best to inculcate the values among students as a part of value building is nation building. And he wants to enrich his knowledge by befriending with every member. Welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us today. The second speaker is Mr. Rami Reddy. He is from Hyderabad and he is the founder of CB Global Foundation and Sri Narayana Global High School in Hyderabad. Apart from that, he is also a member of Utsahin, the Educating Minds. He sees everyone as unique. His goal is to help others find their goal. It's a very nice goal, sir. To be a vital role model for anyone waiting to evolve as a human being and expand consciousness, displaying the perfect blend of the Eastern heart and Western mind. He is passionate to connect with people from all walks of life and backgrounds, giving special attention to children and today's youth, to grow to become the very dynamic power behind all growth. He doesn't have any specific likes and dislikes. That's very nice, sir. And he sees life itself as a mission and it expresses itself in action. Thank you for joining us today, sir. Welcome. And the third speaker for the day is Mrs. Charanya Raj Prabhu. She is the English teacher in Green Valley Educational Institutions and she is also a coordinator and she is a member of Education-Based Learning. I welcome Mrs. Charanya as a speaker for National Education Policy 2020. Thank you.
Khadar sir, shall we start the session?
Yeah. Well, good morning, everyone. Namaskar. I take pleasure and privilege to be associated with today's webinar on National Education Policy 2020. I'll just have my views as to why do we need this educational policy and what exactly the needs, demands, and challenges of education policy for any country as India. Fine. A policy, as we know, consists of certain principles and governing laws. When we say the educational policy, there are stricter principles and little bit stricter laws. for the purpose. Fine. The view of national education policy. Here, share our views. I think it is. Is it echoing? Shall I continue? Fine. Sorry, I think my voice just echoed. I just resume my education and development. Both are the two sides of the same kind. And the role of education in nation building is a pivotal, unarguably is of paramount importance. Since independence, 1947, we have been waging through so many challenges, needs, and demands, as our country is a multicultural, multilinguistic, multi-layered. So naturally, with a populace of more than 135 crores, we had so many challenges. And we are all aware that the kind of education system that we are following today is based on Macaulay education system. This Macaulay education system, which was introduced during the British times. We know the British had a longer perspective with shorter and longer goals. They wanted to serve their needs, to make Indians subservient to them. They wanted to produce clerks and accounts to suffice their needs and demands. Their only goal was to plunder our wealth, to exploit our resources, and to make us subservient and enslave the entire country. And before that, if you can see, since the times of Takshashila, Nalanda University times, India was on the forefront and a leading example and the center of learning, and it was always in the forefront. The ancient texts, tools, ideas, scholars like Aryabhatta, Brahmagupta, Susruta, and so on, they inspired many Europeans. Now if you can see the kind of rich heritage, history of our learning, we were in the forefront. We were the masters. We were the leaders. But you can see, where do we stand? The educational front, economic and technological front. It's a little bit, thought-provoking as to what happened. Since the introduction of a Macaulay education system, the Indians have been habituated to just tune with the English education system, which actually teaches just literacy, and the higher education just makes us white-collar job holders. And in other areas, we are struggling. So in the year 1968, first Kothari Commission, which introduces our education policy which was with the changing times and the demands. Thereafter, it was revised in 1992, wherein we firstly, inculcated and introduced yoga and other aspects. And later on, we had a very long overhaul, and now, under the chairmanship of Kasturi Rangan, we had NEP 2020 National Education Policy with the sweeping changes, total overhaul. Now, let us see what is the need of overhauling the sweeping changes in this new educational policy. As I have shared just now with you, in the ancient times, before the advent of the British people, we were in the forefront. Now we are lagging behind. Take any life standard at a global level, we are far behind. then whom to blame? If you take the challenges within and the social front, so many social maladies, then whom to blame? Whether global standards or the challenges within, we need to blame our education system, the gaps. These gaps we need to fill in. It is too late. Still, it is time, high time. We need to wake up and take up the job. And let us see certain statistics. What the statistics to say, for example, world health conditions. The COVID-19 has taught us a life learning lessons altogether. And on the front of Human Development Index, we were at 129th rank out of 189. That means the development is far behind our vision. And the health index, if you can see, 145th rank out of 195 countries. Where do we stand? It's an alarming level. And for any nation, if at all we are happy, satisfied, we have World Happiness Index. We stand at 144th rank. And if you can see the educational front, we are at 35th rank in the latest ranking system. And the challenges within, if you can see, still after 74 years of independence, about 9.21% unemployment rate. Thanks to COVID, now it has crossed 23.5. And if you can see the people living below poverty line, nearly 22% of our people, say 270 million people are living below poverty line. So where is the vision of our development? And some people say India is a rich country with poor people. Paradoxical statement. It is true to say that. Then whom to blame? Again, the gaps in the education system. Whether it is unemployment, whether it is poverty, lack of infrastructure, backwardness in education, literacy. Even today, 26% of the populace are illiterate. These statistics show us in the bad light that is it not the time for us to look into our education system? Is it not the time that we need to bring about sweeping changes? Is it not the time that we kick this Macal education system to the dustbin? And it is really not moving to know that a country which was once regarded as Vishwaguru is lagging behind in all these sectors. And if you look at the 2011 census, you can boast of the youngest nation in the world. Youngest in the sense, most over 35% of our populace is youthful. If the human resources are any indication, then definitely we are the richest in terms of human resources. Then what is happening? We are over 135 crores with 35% of youth. Then why are you not in a position to, pull our country and make it stand stronger and taller on the global front? Definitely, it is an education system that needs to be changed, that needs to be transformed. Because education development, both are like hands in gloves, sides of the same kind, if repetitively to say. Then, when we talk about everything in the global perspective, let us see in two important angles this education system. One is elementary education system. The elementary education system like the foundation for our education system, which has a vision and a greater mission with the shorter and longer goals. And to get inspired, look at the countries which top the list as per the Program for International Student Assessment Survey. Since 2000 of its induction, Finland is topping, pushing America and other big wigs behind. If anybody boasts of Finland education system, we sometimes wonder what is great about it. Because in Finland, education is seen as a right, not as a privilege. In Finland, education is free. This free education with no dead ends, unlike in India. And if the success story of elementary education best in the world continuously and consistently, then definitely we see what could be the reasons behind it. They say shorter school days, hardly 190 days of schooling for them. No standardized tests. Till the age of 12 years, they don't have standardized tests. They are smart in Finnish language, not in English, but Finnish language. So taking a cue from this Finland's elementary education system, we too need to refurbish our education system. And let us also focus on Japan's elementary education system. Unlike in many other countries, Japan focuses more on moral, ethical, and nationalism. For them, personal discipline is on the front. For them, nationalism is the basis for their education. And they will have separate subject, allocated time, and also they will have discussions on moral dilemmas. We wonder, the children, they themselves, wash their washrooms, clean their toilets, their clothes, and even keep their classrooms and school clean every week. And this is what exactly we need. With the two examples of Finland and Japan, we understand education is not just about learning the rudimentaries of literacy. It is something more than that. Then we add one leaf to the literacy, life skills as well. As someone says, education is not to learn about to live, but a living. And that's the reason why education is very important at elementary level. At higher education level, if we have a focus on the so-called big wigs, whether it is America, UK, Canada, Australia, and so on. And we wonder why our students, once they complete their graduation, aspire to go to America, dream to land there, complete their higher education. Over 12 lakh international students are landing in America every year, of which 77% hail from Asia, 1/3 of which from India alone. Then what is exactly attracting these Asian students, in particular our students from our country? Because higher education in America is oriented research learning. That means research oriented learning. Higher education is research, research is higher education. Then look back. What is the gap in India? We don't have better research facilities because we are not oriented towards research. So every student aspiring to do any research of his passionate area he will look at America as his destination. For example, if you see over 97 Nobel laureates are credited with Chicago University alone. One university, Chicago University, produced 97 Nobel laureates. You can see the level of higher education, research-oriented approach. Then we wonder what we can do here. And we make a huge hue and cry, brain drain. All our Indians are going to America, UK, Canada, Russia, Australia, Germany and Japan. So what is the fun in making the huge hue and cry? How long you can stop them from flying to America? Since we need to change our orientation. There are some universities with a single discipline. We need to have multidisciplinary, courses in universities. We need to focus more on research. Look at the UK, which is the second best destination for foreign students. Over 5 lakh students from foreign countries land in UK for higher education. Oxford University, which is much in news for the COVID-19 vaccine. It is also one of the best global universities, which can be created with 30 Nobel laureates till now and 26 British prime ministers. We wonder why Oxford University is far better than many other universities in the world. And here, the difference between Chicago and Oxford. The Chicago is much research oriented. Oxford University is multidisciplinary. And definitely the students from across the world, especially from Asia, more especially from India, will go to Oxford University. In Canada, for example, non-English medium students are more than students in they have their own approach. And look at our country, for example, we have 16 IITs. Out of these 16 IITs, how many are in the global ranking? And all our 16 IITs, the big names like IIT Bombay, IIT Delhi, IIT Chennai, Kharagpur, Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, Usmania University, Banaras Hindu University, we have all big names, but we are falling short at length and breadth at the global level. We have 3 to 4 universities or IITs, sometimes ranking between 300 to 500. Little bit embarrassing. We cannot look into the eyes of the people who boast of greater, rankings. In America, over 150 universities in the global ranking. In UK, over 76 universities in global ranking. In Canada, over 26 universities in global ranking. In Australia, over 12 universities in the global ranking. But we have 3 to 5 universities. So comparatively, if you can see, once Vishwaguru Bharat, once the leader since the times of Takshashila and Nalanda and Manasa, now we are lagging behind. Is it not the time for us to switch over to new educational policy with sweeping changes? We need to do it. In the 1968, if you can see in an article, our parliament declared our IITs are our national pride. But can we say now, enhancing our chest with pride, that our IITs are of national pride at the global level? There is something short. We feel little bad about it. So, in order to strengthen our education system, because we need to meet the needs and demands of 135 crores of people. We have booming youth, over 35% of total population. We need to strengthen our elementary education on the lines of Finland and Japan. Maybe better than that. To focus more on research orientation in higher education level. in the lines of America, UK, even better than that. And this is one way that we can really strengthen our education system. And we have seen Kasturi Rangan Commission had looked into all these aspects of technological and research orientation. And there are other important spheres and the angles of our education. Mahatma Gandhi says, education without building character is worthless. On the behavioral front, what is new to offer in this new educational policy? Every day, just open a newspaper, switch on to any TV, both print and electronic media, you see many things heart-wrenching. The crime stories, corruption cases, and the parents are unwanted and left in the old age homes, and the children at the tender age being raped and murdered, looties, thefts, and extremism, and all these social maladies because of the gaps of our education system. That means we have almost forgotten to groom the side of behavior. We have almost limited the words like morals, ethics to the textbooks or in just letters. We have not taken into the spirit, and we worry, we blame the system. Then who is to play the role? Every parent, every teacher, everyone. Thanks to COVID-19, it has taught a beautiful, lesson. If you need to leave, let the neighbor to leave. If you need to be safe, let the neighbor to be safe. If you need to be alive, let the neighbor to be alive. If you need to be unaffected by COVID, let the neighbor to be unaffected. It has taught a beautiful paradoxical lesson to each and everyone. You cannot say that, I am happy, I have earned, I have learned, I have developed. No. This is a global village. This is a modern age. This is the information age. You are not untouched. You are touched by everyone. You are not safe. You are insecure. Unless until you are alert. Unless until you secure yourself. The nation is not geographical entity. It's an entity with a booming population. If you want to be safe in the country, you see that your country should be safe. So our education system should focus more on behavioral pattern. If you are strong in the moral front, you cannot be corrupted. If you are disciplined on your behavioral front, you cannot see these rape and murder cases. If you are ethical and moral, responsible to a parent, you cannot see these old age homes. If you are feeling that you are a part of this environment, you cannot destroy this nature, you cannot cut the trees, you cannot be a mad run behind, this industrialization, urbanization itself is a development. Development is not that, it's a part of it. We can look into the skies, reach the other celestial bodies like Mars, Moon, one day Sun. But you're falling at the levels of your morals and ethics. To you, relations no matter. To you, teachers no matter. To you, nation no matter. Then what for this education? And how can you say that you are a Bharatvasi, you are an Indian? So these things are of equal importance. If you say elementary education, higher education needs to be strengthened, on the moral front, behavioral front, we need to strengthen. Vivekananda said, sound mind in the sound body. Today's education system is not letting the child to play and build the body or maintain his physical fitness. Today, COVID-19 is teaching a beautiful lesson. If you are fit, you are hit. And who are succumbing to this COVID-19 effect? Those who are very weak in the immune system. And how can you build the immune system? Unless until you play, unless until you expose yourself, strain your body, train your mind. And you're all, confined to only the four walls of a classroom or the boxes like life in an apartment, AC. So long as you are stick to AC, you are busy in your health front. So education front, health front are very important to say somebody is developed. Still we say that India is a developing nation. Why not a developed nation? And when can we say that? So long as this brain drain is not contained, so long as this behavioral front, moral front not refurbished, we can never say that. Why extremism? Why unemployment? Why poverty? Why poor health? Why this mortality? Why this domestic violence? Everything can be brought down if we can really make our education system, with the sweeping changes, and we can bring back our country onto the tracks. And so I wish this national educational policy set with the principles and governing laws, which may need these demands and bring the changes and make our country a stronger one, and see that our country always stands stronger and taller. Jai Hind, Bharat Mata ki Jai.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. It was an excellent experience you have shared with all of us regarding education. Now, let me call upon our second speaker, another very motivational and enthusiastic speaker, Mr. Ram Reddy sir. Sir, Ram Reddy sir garu, are you there?
Yes, please.
Yes, sir, please. It's up
Can
to
you
you.
allow me? Yeah, can you allow me
Yeah.
the screen share?
Sure. Afzal sir, can you allow Ram Reddy sir for screen sharing? Saranya ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Afzal sir, please inform Afzal sir to screen share Ram Reddy sir.
Or you may make me host for some time. Khalid sir, how much time I have?
Yes.
It's up to you, sir.
You, sir.
Now I have done as a host, sir.
It's up to you because you are everything right now.
Host.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for nice introduction by Ayesha ma'am and Kadir sir. So Kadir sir has made my job, 90% is done. Actually, now I'm feeling whether I should speak or not. I don't know about this, but I will try to, share whatever I was supposed to. So very good morning all. The management of Green Valley Educational Institutions for this wonderful initiation, and the respected teachers, my co-speaker Kadir sir, parents, and my loving children. As Kadir Garu told, let us hope, when Kadir Garu was telling, most of the time I was reflecting about the value system, and it reminded me a small story which was told by my school teacher, and I feel I should share it with you now. So, we know that as he was constantly repeating about our ancient
999 675 1994.
ancient education system in India. So it reminded me one story. We know that in India, the olden days, the education used to be outside the town. We used to call them Guru Kula. Guru means master, Kula means family. So the parents used to hand over the child in all faiths. It's not just in one faith, but generally the parent hand overs the child to the teacher, saying that from now onwards, until you complete your education, your teacher and his wife are your father and mother. They are the parents. The kula means that what it means actually. Guru kula means now you belong to the family of the guru, the master or the teacher. So one it happened that there was one nice child. Maybe the child was like the student of Green Valley. He continued studied, and it was more than 10 years. And as we know that, like a family, the mata, we call mother, the wife of the master, used to offer give the food to the student. The student was eating every day. We know that as per the science also, the students were given ghee in the, especially we South Indians know more about it, the cow ghee in the food, so that it is a good thing for the brain and as well as the digestion system to have the brain activity and more knowledge. So it happened, was going on one day after a couple of years, very nicely, very in a humble manner, mother say in his own language, I'm trying to talk in English, Mata, so I think today by mistake, instead of ghee, you have given me castor oil. You know that in Telugu we call amudam. I don't know in Tamil what is called, or Hindi में क्या बोलते castor oil को? I don't remember exactly the word. The castor oil. Generally, the castor oil is never eaten. It is not good for the brain also. Amudam in Telugu we call it generally. So instead of the ghee, the mother gave castor oil in the food. Mother was, the wife of the teacher was very quiet and silently in the late evening before sleep, she went to the master and said, I don't know what happened. All these years I was giving the same to him as directed by you. Actually, I was not giving ghee. I was giving the same castor oil because you said you giving the castor oil instead of ghee. But today, first time after, maybe 10 years, the child asked me, Amma, why you gave me castor oil? The master smiled and said, okay, it's fine. I will talk to him tomorrow. And morning he called the child and told, my dear, you have completed your education. Now you can go back to your home, get some, profession or job or whatever that you have learned, and you may get married also. Because this is a family system, you have to marry and you have to take care of your parents and the society as per that. The student was shocked. Master, why? Because as per the direction you gave, more 2 to 3 years I have to be here to learn the remaining. He said, no, it is enough now. The student was very disappointed. Why I am sent out? Then the master says, my dear, actually for the last 10 years, I suggested mother to give castor oil. You didn't mind it. You are not focusing on what you are eating. Your focus was completely on what you are learning. Your focus was completely on learning. But today, your interest turned into the food. Tomorrow it will turn into, marriage, then on. Whatever comes later will not be with you. So that is the focus, that is the attention, that is the concentration, that is the commitment that a student is required. Even I am a student. I generally call as a student of life. Always I call as a student of life. So when you have to learn something, you have to be attentive. And why I shared this story, I'll connect to this. Because as per the instruction, the session was supposed to be 45 minutes to 50 minutes, where we were asked to speak for 10 to 15 minutes. But anyhow, I'll try to, go into the simple glimpses of the highlights of the 2020. So thank you, Kader sir, for helping me out, because it really made, I could see the chat box, wonderful, super, everything. It was so amazing. It was so inspiring. So without delay, I'll just, as children are here, I just give few, already you might have seen this, but to go ahead, I'll try to go ahead with the, what exactly the highlights of new education policy or national education policy 2020 carries. I'll try to go with this. Is screen is visible? Could you see anything?
Yes,
here?
yes, we can see. We can see.
Okay, now everybody is talking about national education policy. First of all, I would like to clear everyone, the parents or the teachers and children, this is only a policy. In other terms, we can call it as a constitution. There is so much to national curriculum framework has to be done, and yeah. So this is only national education policy. As many details already were shared by Khader sir, I will not go in detail. So what it carries actually? So much of preparation, as Khader sir said, 1968 our first education policy came when Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister. Then so many steps, but this is one new policy. In 86, even in 92, there was focus, but it is a complete new policy which try to meet whatever the aspiration we have as a developing country. This takes over there. 1968, then 1986, then 1992, even then 2005, and then 16 to 17. These were the crucial years where 2020 policy has come. And there are three very important aspects. What I can say is, one thing is HRD, where we call human resource. As we are preparing for life, now we are not preparing for life. I would always say, let us make the students or the people ready for the life. So the HRD minister will be known as Minister of Education. And the interesting thing is 1.6 to 6% of GDP investment in education, which is very, very important for a country like us. And another important thing is focusing on gross enrollment. As Khader Garu was saying, we are only 26% people who are going for the higher education. Now the target is by 2035 we have to make at least 50% of the population to complete their graduation level. And the main aim, as already informed, to transform the Indian education system to meet the 21st century learning. When you're going back means you're not, becoming back. There is a misunderstanding, but the idea is to, meet the 21st century. To keep this in concurrent, it is not that something we learned. As we learned, all we people from the last 30 years, 40 years, few decades, rote learning was happening. And then all these were actually explained in advance. Focus on the childhood care, restructure curriculum and pedagogy, reform assessments and exams, and investment in teacher training. This is most important, which I request all the teachers to go through in details. This is something is going to be a big change, and it is going to be a big change and bring a holistic change in the education system of India. We all know that it was previously 10+2, where we used to have 6 years to 16 years, then 16 to 18, as Green Valley School also have 10+2, maybe the same way. But now it is going to be like 4 levels. First 5 years. Now in our private education institutions, we call it kindergarten, preschool. In government, we call it Balvatika, Anganwadi. And it is not going to be separate. It is going to be like 3 to 8 years, the same way. And from 8 to 11 years, 3 years course, which we call 3rd, 4th, 5th standard, we consider as the foundation. And then clearly the middle stage, 6th, 7th, 8th. This is another interesting thing. Here in 6th, 7th, 8th, majority things are given. Majority things are given. So it looks similar when we talk, but when actually it comes to detailed understanding, there is so much difference. And secondary stage, 9, 10, 11, 12. And here in the preparatory stage, up to 5th class, the mother tongue is encouraged. And I would like to clarify, there is a big debate is going on. The mother tongue is an interesting research is that the Nobel Prize winners in the last couple of decades, majority are studied in their mother tongue, even till the PG. We think only English is the language that makes everything happen. English is required. This new education policy actually encourages all international languages. At the same time, it is encouraging to learn in mother tongue and also the regional languages, because the researchers, they have taken 20 countries as the samples, as previous speaker he mentioned about Finland, Germany, Japan, Australia, US. All the best practices of the world are practiced and encouraged based on that. And preferably 6th, 7th, up to 8th, they are encouraging to go with the mother language or the regional language, whichever is compatible, because the imagination powers are high compared to, because in I would like to mention something. In India, I don't know about certain places, but generally Indian people say use right hand for everything good. But what happens when you use too much of right hand, your left brain is more active. That's why we become too logical that we forgot to imagine things, and not doing so many inventions like Ramanujan, who belongs to our Tamil Nadu land. So, and the interesting thing is, no language will be imposed on any student. It's completely learner-centric, student-centric. This is the beauty of this. And another thing is vocational courses as a skill. Today, everybody is talking. In the recent research, I think maybe 5-6 years back, I've seen one research. South Korea, where we get all these telephones and smartphones, more than 92% are skilled people out of 100 people. India was 2.5. Imagine, out of 100 people, or Indian people have skills, only 2.5 when it comes to South Korea. So because we completely lost, the previous talk is connecting. So now beauty is that from 6th class itself, people can start, they have to start the vocational courses, not that they go up. They will become, entrepreneurs or job seekers or skill. They can have their own livelihood, or they can have their own job. The interesting thing here is learn coding. Today we see China is leading in certain areas. We have to accept it because they started at the early age. In private, I know even I am seeing many ads that coding is given even from the 6th class. But in our education, new education policy, the 6th class onwards coding it's quite interesting actually. And as I mentioned, we always need some example. So for language, Europe, because in the Europe, because majority of the countries, we think that Europe is the language of English, but still different languages, as Sir told, Finland, Germany, and Spanish, all these things, majority of the children, they studied in their own mother language. And it is like even assessment is going to be there. And quite interesting, this is quite interesting for the children, that officially, now we are doing as I know few of the private schools and few of the private management, they are doing as a field trip and all. So this is going to, officially there will be minimum 10 days bagless, where children will be in the research, as speaker said. They have to get into the actual field and they have to learn by doing it. This has become a mandate. This is going to be a mandate in these things. And another very interesting thing, if children are there, you have to be excited about this. 9th class, previously it was like you are in a 3 areas like commerce, science, or humanities, like that. Now it's not like that. A child, if I am a 9th class student, I can take maths, I can take even music as my main subject. I can choose from all areas. This is quite interesting. Even the math, music, dance, arts is going to be a main subject. Even it is going to start from the 9th class. Even this was not there even in the +2 and in the graduation. They were separate. They are not going to separate it. So the child can choose. There is no rigid separation of the academic streams. It can be mix up all these things out of their interest. Assessment, it's quite interesting. It is already tested up. I will not go much more of the formative assessment. We have the NEP 2020 is not focusing more on the summative. It is focusing more on the formative assessment. And little glimpse of college level, because we are going ahead. And as I mentioned in the earlier, now we have only 26%. The aim of the 2020 is that gross enrollment ratio is 50% by 2035. The holistic multidisciplinary, which was repeatedly used by Kader sir, is going to have this in higher education. And the thing is, you need not to do 4 years, 3 years college. Even after 1 year, you can say, I have completed. If the child has any challenge in between, you can choose another stream or you can go for a job. So now the 4-year degree is going to be like diploma or certificate course, advanced diploma, bachelor degree with research. And all the, like we have the CIBIL marks, like academic, bank of credit. This is something very unique. This is going to help the students very much. And another thing, post-graduation as mentioned, if you are doing a 3-year degree, you have to do 3 years. If you are doing 4-year degree with research, only 1 year master's enough, and directly you can go for the research. There is no MPhil now. Completely they have removed it. And the beauty of this 2020 is reducing the gap between the so-called privilege to right, as very nicely mentioned about the Kader sir, the privilege to the right. So when we are providing digital, today you see, because of this digital possibility, sitting at Hyderabad, I'm able to communicate with all of you people. So the very interesting thing is they are encouraging more of the online virtual labs, and digital content is highly prioritized, so that any corner of country can get access. Any child who is interested can get access to the education. That is more. And teachers, as I mentioned in the before, they are going to be the change maker, game changers. 50 minimum in-service trainings are there, providing all these things. So National Curriculum Framework for Teacher Education. The framework is the challenging job actually. As I mentioned, NEP 2020 is like a constitution, but actual thing has to happen. Let us hope. So by 2030, the minimum degree is going to be 4-year integrated PA. It is going to be mandate. And the main objective, as mentioned, universalization of education, achieving global standard of education. So this is the actual glimpse of all education, which I wanted to, because as Kader sir said, I did not give a motivational speech. I just had to, give clarity of these things. So these are all there. So why these are there? Just I would like to recap all those things which already there. So the main aim of putting all these things about these NEPs, by the time youth complete their schooling, they are expected to become job creators. Now everybody graduation ho gaya, job mil gaya, life settle ho gaya. No, the main aim of NEP is, I would say, more of it was like knowledge driven learning, but it has to be action driven learning. That is, and few things which I would like to revise here. I think I have a screen shared, you can go through it. The main objective behind this is putting all these categories operation is recognizing and identifying and fostering the unique capabilities, because every child is a unique, every student is a unique, by sensitizing teachers, because end of the day teachers are the inspiring people, as well as the parents. Here parent role is big, like olden days, to promote each student's holistic development in both academic and non-academic spheres, because that's why they are clubbed. There is no separation like academic and non-academic now. According the highest priority to achieving the foundational literacy and numeracy by all students by grade 8. That is the biggest challenge, as the previous speaker told. We don't have the basics when the research done. The focus is more on that. That's why they gave all options like mother tongue and all. Flexibility, this is the most interesting thing, so that the learners have the ability to choose their learning trajectories. Why flexibilities are given? Because they can have their own choices, thereby choose their own paths in life according to their talents and interests, not that just they get some kind of what you call living and livelihood. And no separation, as I mentioned, separation between sciences, between curriculum and extracurriculum activities, between the occasional and academic streams. The main reason is to to remove, eliminate these harmful hierarchies among the silos between different areas of learning, and multidisciplinary. am I clear? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
And we are going to emphasis on emphasis on the conceptual understanding rather than the rote learning. This was the biggest challenge we had. Creativity and critical thinking to encourage logical decision making and innovation, which is lacking. Ethics and human and constitutional values like empathy, respect for others, cleanliness, courtesy, democratic spirit of service, which is most important, respect for public property, scientific temper, library, responsibility, pluralism, and equality and justice, promoting multilingualism, as I mentioned in the before, and the power of language in teaching and learning is given, so that we are known for diversity. India means differences. We actually enjoy the differences. We don't want everybody the same. Everybody is unique. That's why India becomes very unique in the world. Life skills such as communication, cooperation, and teamwork, and resilience, which is most important thing. We are not flexible now. I'm talking about in general. Extensive use of technology, which I mentioned, to give the gap between all the areas of the this thing. And as mentioned before, multidisciplinary things are there. Creativity is there. The very interesting thing, as mentioned, teachers and faculty has the heart of the learning process. Their recruitment, continuous professional development, which I was mentioning, they have a proposal of 50 minimum in-service training days, and continuous empowering the teachers. A light but tight regulatory framework to ensure, because that regulatory framework is not yet done, integrity, transparency, and resource efficiency of the education system through audit and public disclosure, while encouraging innovation and out-of-box ideas. This is very important, through autonomy, good governance, and empowering. Outstanding research as a core requisite for outstanding education and development. Continuous review of progress based on sustained research and regular assessment by education experts. A rootedness and pride in India. This is what very important. And it's rich. That's why they try to connect with the local language, local culture. The methods are very open. This NEP is only a policy where the states and certain bodies have to take their decision and structure the curriculum to meet these all outcomes. The objective of this policy. Education must be considered as a basic right of every child. Now we are on paper, but we are not in action. Substantial investment in strong, vibrant public education system. This is quite interesting. Actually, it was on paper, but now the government is encouraging all the philanthropic business people to come as NGOs and start schools, not as a profit base, but to give more facility participation. And finally, again, I would like to repeat, main aim is India a global knowledge superpower. That is the main aim behind anything. And as general, I would like to say here, which may not be relevant, but today everybody is talking about the skill, how the skill comes. So the skill is only possible when you have a calm mind. And when the calm mind comes, when you are devoted to something. And when can you devote? When you have energy and enthusiasm. So today, the Green Valley Education Institutions, I know them for a couple of weeks. The enthusiasm, the energy is definitely, and I can see the dedication and the devotion of the management and teachers able to make out such wonderful programs and conducting such webinars. And not least, again, end of the day, whether we have managements, governments, public and all, only teacher. I'm sorry, I'm only a part of encouraging you as an empathy. I know that teachers need more support. Only teacher can make a difference. So your passion, your creativity, and and your innovation. Finally, knowledge-driven learning to action-driven learning is the main motto and main aim of this 2020. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much,
Maybe
sir.
progress
It's,
together.
what
Stay
to say,
inspired.
Ram sir, what to say? It was an extraordinary session where you have inspired us a lot with your slides as well as explanation. And grateful thanks for Rami sir and Kadir sir also. Let's start. Rami sir, can you make us host?
Already she is.
Okay, done, sir. Let me continue with third speaker of the day, Mrs. Saranya Rajprabhu, English expertise teacher of Green Valley Educational Institutions. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, a very good morning to all of you. I think before speakers, the other two panelists, they have explained and they have highlighted everything about NEP. So I am here to just tell you the features and the merits of NEP. Because you would have come across many debates on NEP, here I just wanted to tell you the features and merits alone.
You're unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Is my voice audible to everyone? I hope
Yes.
that will be audible. It is audible. Let me share you the features of NEP. So almost they have covered and they have reduced my work. They have started and they have explained everything about the NEP. So the main aim of NEP is 100% youth and adult literacy. So it is the first and foremost most policy, and it is the first and foremost aim of NEP to achieve 100% youth and adult literacy. And I am going to share you the features of NEP. So these are the features of NEP: reducing curriculum content, scientific temper, critical thinking, problem solving, decision making, goal setting, foundational learning, creativity, emphasis on concept and application based questions, integration of technology in education, digital libraries, experiential learning, activities involving in coding, collaboration in teamwork, innovativeness, extracurricular and co-curricular activities, vocational education, artificial intelligence, and online education. So Rami Reddy sir, he has explained everything about the highlights and features of NEP. So this is the first and foremost policy of NEP. So reducing curriculum content. They are going to reduce the curriculum content, and they are they are going to focus only on concept and application based method. Then the second one is scientific temper. So after studying, after learning the new curriculum, I hope that the students, they have the science knowledge. They will have the science knowledge, and they will have the interest, and they will have the curiosity on science. Then critical thinking. The students of 21st century, they will have the critical thinking, problem solving, and decision making. Goal setting. This is the very most important personal development. This is a major component of personal development. The students of 21st century, they will take their decision on their own, and they will solve the problem, and they will set their own goal, and they will work towards the goal. And the foundational learning by 2025, every student in India, they'll be very strong in the foundation. And creativity, I hope that all the students of 21st century, they will be the creators. They will create something after studying the new curriculum. Then, as I told you already, the emphasis of NEP, they are going to mainly focus on the concept and application based questions. You will be seeing more MCQs in the question papers. All the questions will be based on application method. So as I said, the rote memory, read, write, forget. So this will be gone, I think. Then integration of technology in education. They are going to mainly focus on the digital classroom, and they are going to design a new curriculum and digital libraries. Almost all the libraries will be established, and the digital library is also going to be established. Then activities involving coding. I hope that after going through this one, the coding activities involving coding, the students, they will have the curiosity, they will have the computer knowledge, and they will create and they will record everything. Collaboration and teamwork, this is very, very important. Teamwork is very, very important. The students, when they will work and they are be with the others in a group, they will be strong in the teamwork, so they will learn this. Then innovativeness, so this is also one of the most important policy. Innovativeness, it is very, very important. The students, they will innovate and they will create new things. And extracurricular and co-curricular activities, so the 21st century students, they are not only they will not only be studying the curriculum, and they will study the extracurricular and co-curricular activities also, and this will be based on the lessons only, the curriculum only. Then vocational education, as sir said, they will be going to a carpenter and they will be going to a gardener. So they'll be going to learn everything. Our students of 21st century are the children of 21st century. They'll be going to learn everything, and they will be going to an all-rounder. And artificial intelligence, so this is very, very important. We can see this everywhere. Without having the computer knowledge, we cannot survive in the 21st century. So I hope that all the students of 21st century, they'll be learning the artificial intelligence. So I really thank the NEP team, so for creating and for planning everything. And the last feature is online education. So during this pandemic situation, how the students will learn the education, how the students will learn the curriculum. So everything they'll be learning through online education. So they are going to promote online education during this pandemic situation. So these are the features of NEP. These are the merits of NEP, compulsory education. So from grade 1 to 12th. So it will be compulsory education, then stress-free. So the education will be like stress-free, rote learning will be gone, then dropout less, then creators. So we can see many creators, then bagless days. I think the children of 21st century, they will be enjoying this bagless days, I think. So they will be like independent in all the aspects, and they will learn everything by doing, by experience with something. And they will be their own teacher, and they will be like a masters, and they will be like an all-rounder in all the aspects. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. I really wholeheartedly, I want to convey my thanks to Mrs. Aisha Javed, the correspondent of Green Valley Educational Institutions, and Kadir Kancher, the academic head of Green Valley Educational Institutions.
The Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am, for your wonderful and giving insight and conclusive insight on the NEP 2020. So let me go over to Mr. Arun Kumar. Arun Kumar, sir, are you there? Can you unmute yourself, sir? Please unmute yourself. We can't hear you. You're not audible. We can't hear you. You're not audible. Ma'am, please request Afzal sir to unmute Arun Kumar, sir. That is GVS03.
Yeah,
Arun Kumar sir, it's over to you for vote of thanks.
thank you, sir. Sir, firstly, these skills are intended to help our students keep up with the lightning pace of today's modern world, sir. Now, on behalf of Green Valley Educational Institutions, I extend my most sincere thanks to Almighty God for making today's event a resounding success with His blessings and grace. Now, I extend my hearty thanks to our chief guests individually. First, Mr. Ramireddy Sir Garu, CB Global Foundation and Sri Narayana Global High School. Thank you, sir. Then, Mr. S.A. Kadir Sir, Director and Correspondent of Little Master High School, Hyderabad. Thank you, sir. And now, Mrs. Saranya Raj Prabhu Ma'am, English teacher, Green Valley Educational Institutions. Thank you, ma'am. Now, I thank all the parents and children of GVS Metric and CBSE School to making this a program a wonderful success. Then, I thank all the dignitaries who attended this webinar, and I thank our management, our chairman sir, Javed sir, and our correspondent ma'am, Aisha Javed ma'am, to giving a good platform for everybody to know about the NEP policy of 2020 to our parents as well as children. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Kadir sir.
Yes, sir. And above all, I'm really thankful again from Green Valley Educational Institutions to all the parents, all the supporters, all the well-wishers of our school, and extraordinary speakers for today on NEP, Mr. S.A. Kadir sir, Ramireddy sir, and Saranya Raj Prabhu ma'am. We are very thankful for spending your valuable time with us and giving our students an excellent session to just by listening all of you, they would have understood what NEP actually is. So for that thing, the talented, stay inspired. That's all. You're all an inspiration, sir, for all of us. And moreover, I wholeheartedly thank our correspondent, ma'am, Aisha ma'am, for giving an excellent platform for everyone to make this session successful. Thank you all.